That Fast Company profile. Okay, in it, we were just texting about it, so I'm very, very grateful to have the opportunity to like again have a true catharsis with you because again, she spoke about her learns, which in the real world are called mistakes. You
Yeah.
made some big mistakes. And number one is you didn't have enough merchandise to fulfill the orders that were placed. I believe those numbers were artificially compressed. Like she kept a lot back so that she could turn around and say, "Look what it look it's sold out," and it didn't. And then she says, "We don't know if we're going to restock." What help me make sense of this? Is this a business or is it not? What kind of business is like maybe we'll restock? It would be like you or maybe like maybe we'll do another episode. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, so it's like she's talking directly to her critics. And Harry and Meghan do this a lot through the media because they are obsessed. Their Google alerts are live. They have burner accounts. I know for a fact they have burner accounts on social media where they follow conversations about them. So, it's like she's talking directly to her critics in this. And I don't know how you find the schmuck at Fast Company to do your bidding, but this is all one sided. Nothing's challenged whatsoever. And there's a paragraph that says the easiest thing to do would have been to simply restock the product. Maureen, that would have been too easy, which would have likely sold out quickly. Again, this is just basically Meghan's version of events. But instead, Meghan wants to take a step back, gather data from the launch, and figure out exactly what as ever could be. She says she's planning to announce new products in the first quarter of 2026. You've had 5 years since stepping down as a working member of the British royal family. You've had one, when it comes to as ever, American Riviera Orchard was announced over a year ago. So years ago. So you've had plenty of time to determine what as ever or what your brand is going to be. She's just making excuses and trying to hide her failures. And it disappoints me that someone like Fast Company would play a role in that. But she's just making excuses for not being able to meet expectation.
Well, I just think Kinsey, as ever, she doesn't really want to do the work. Like the
No.
work doesn't light her up in the way that I think, your show lights you up. You can tell, like you're so engaged, you're so always like just ready to go. You're just ready to go. And she, again, like I don't know what kind of executive would say that it's acceptable for Meghan to go, you know what I want to do? This said no business person ever, said no entrepreneur ever. Like I wish for Mark Cuban's final episode of Shark Tank, they had made it like a special with the Duchess. And the Duchess would have to stay in the Shark Tank and go through all of her failed business ventures and like hear it from them. Like just be taken to the woodshed. Because no, there's not a single entrepreneur on the planet who would be like, it's a great idea. I should absolutely not capitalize on momentum. You know,
Mm.
we live in such a fast moving culture that you have like a nanosecond to get whatever it is you want in front of people's faces. And they're either going to take it or they're not, but they're going to move on. That's how quickly the cycle moves. And she's like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take my learns and my data points and I'm going to go back to my mansion and I'm going to see what they're telling me. And then I'm going to conceive like what my brand should be. If your brand is out there, your brand should have an identity and it does not. And I just think it's so deeply reflective of its founder, Meghan Markle, who I truly believe there is no there. She has no
Mm.
identity. Therefore, her product lines have no real identity.
Well, you saw the headlines over the weekend about their new royal court that they've tried to build in Montecito. They've got these 11 employees, all white, by the way. If you want to talk unconscious
Mm,
bias, they've got
mm.
11 new white people that are there to rehabilitate their image. That's the ultimate objective. And that's what Meghan Markle's saying here in this interview. Rebrand, another rebrand. Constant reinvention breeds skepticism. One minute she's a podcast host, the next a lifestyle guru. Is she writing children's books today? Is she the greatest expert on jam ever? Reinvention isn't inherently bad, but without follow through, or success in one domain, it starts to look like failing, not versatility. And this inconsistency makes it hard for anyone to invest emotionally or financially in her ventures. We talked about the podcast a little bit. It was you that pointed out to me the way that she almost gives up when it comes to the podcast. There's interest in a second season of Confessions of a Female Founder, and many female founders have approached her to be a guest on the series. Of course they have, but Meghan is now involved in such a wide range of projects. She's sure to find some way to tell her story. That is Meghan's out. That's Meghan saying, but if I don't continue to do the podcast, I didn't need to anyway.
I mean, it's a great theory. It's a great theory. It just, I don't know where she's going to get her dopamine hits because she needs to be in front of a camera. Like, tell me your theory as to why Netflix would give her a season 3.
I think that there is, we've heard the famous line, no PR is bad PR. And I think that that's the way that Netflix looks at her. But I do think she is a liability. And I do think that both Harry and Meghan are liabilities. They're not very honest people. And, there's at some point we're going to stop wanting to look at the train wreck. I don't think that there's sustainability in their terrible decisions. Obviously, that's what interests us. It's not because they have anything to say. It's not because they are so charitable that we're just fascinated by them or whatever. We're watching a train wreck, and I just don't see this. In the long run, how valuable is that, and how long is that going to keep us engaged?
That thing about the Fast Company article, she's always trying to include anecdotes that make her seem like a loving mother. And, my personal theory is if you have to do that, you're probably not. It all feels very performative. She's talking about how she makes sure we know that so it sort of, it's been pointed out to me that, she did this right around the same time that I think Catherine, Princess of Wales, posted a photo of George, who had lost a tooth.
Oh, Louis had 2 front teeth missing.
Louis had thank you. He had 2 front teeth missing. And so now Meghan's coming along with her anecdote about her child who just lost his first tooth. And she's such a great mom. She put money under the pillow. And he was so excited that the tooth fairy had come that he woke up at 2 a.m, which I do not believe. Kids get up that early on Christmas Eve, but they do not get up they don't care that much about the tooth fairy. You're not getting it done. It's not a big deal. So anyway, she goes, he came and he woke me up. First of all, I believe she's got like a bouncer outside her bedroom door, frankly. I think it's an exclusive nightclub and children are not allowed. And I'm implying nothing other than that I don't think she's a very hands-on mother. Just my opinion. Anyway, so Archie
just tell us she has a nanny.
Right. So, this kid somehow finds his way to his mother, God forbid. And he wakes her up and she's like, I had meetings the next day. I had a very big day ahead of me. But, I think this is the literal verbiage and it's so telling. I chose to cuddle with him anyway. So this is a choice, not just a reflexive action. Like most mothers cuddle their kids when they come, So I chose to cuddle him. And, it's those mom moments that really make me a better founder, a better business person. Like, are you like
better person, a better human?
Yeah. Yeah. Those
Here,
mom.
I have one question about the tooth fairy. Does the money that she leaves under Archie's pillow have his grandfather's face on it? Is that how he knows what his grandpa looks like? Because otherwise he has no clue what his grandfather looks like.